Hello, Samson here. So, in today's book review, I read a book. I remember that I had read John Maxwell's Today Matters. Now, looking at the fact that last week we were reviewing Do It Today, I thought it was going to be a good idea to continue with what today is about. So, Today Matters has got 12 principles and practices which are going to guarantee you tomorrow's success. So it is by John C. Maxwell, as I mentioned earlier on. So let me just go through the 12 principles before I go into detail for each of the principles. So the first principle is attitude. So attitude is something that gives you possibilities. So your attitudes are going to give you possibilities. Then you're moving on to priorities, which give you focus. And then principle number 3 is health, which gives you strength. And then number 4 is family, which gives you stability. Number 5 is thinking, which gives you advantages. Number 6 is commitment, which gives you tenacity. And number 7 are finances, which give you options. Number 8 is faith, which gives you peace. Number 9, you have relationships, which give you fulfillment. Number 10, generosity, which gives you significance. Number 11, values, which give you direction. Number 12, and the last one, which is growth, and it is something that gives you potential. All right, so maybe breaking them down, like each of them down, like as fast as I can break them down from the things that I had learned from the book and I read it. So attitude is something that is going to affect your outcomes. So it is how you relate to people that they're going to also relate to you, depending on what type of attitude that you have. So managing the attitude discipline, there are like a lot of things to do, but you need to have a daily adjustment on your attitudes in order to be able to relate with other people. And then express an attitude of gratitude on a daily basis. So always find something positive in every situation and every day that you live. Find something positive. A positive attitude is an attitude that is going to get you tomorrow's success. It's a guarantee. So principle number 3 is talking about priorities. So when you talk about priorities, you're talking about time being the most important commodity that you have. So the fact that when you lose time, you cannot get it. It is important that you put your priorities in order. That is, looking at the fact that you cannot do everything that you desire to do in your life, because life is just this short thing that we have to fulfill all of our desires. So managing the priority principle, you need to evaluate your priorities on a daily basis. You need to plan carefully what you need to do, and then you need to follow through the plan that you have made, looking at the things that you want to do. And then you can also delegate whenever you need to delegate. Leave things that are of lower value for you, and then do things which are of higher value for yourself. Principle number 3 is family. So family is basically a safe haven that you have. I cannot put a lot of emphasis on the importance of family because it always comes first. And then managing the priority, managing the discipline rather, or the principle of family. We're looking at putting family first all the time, and then expressing appreciation for each other in the family, and then resolving conflicts whenever there are conflicts in a family, like right there and then where possible. Which takes me to principle number 4, talking about thinking. So thinking, as we mentioned already, that it gives you advantage. So it increases your advantages. But there are a lot of different types of thinkings which are out there. There's forecast thinking, there is strategic thinking, possibility thinking, shared thinking, bottom line thinking, effective thinking, and every other type of thinking. But managing the principle of thinking, you basically find a place where it is convenient for you to sit down and think every day. Then you need also to find a process that works for you in order for you to capture your thoughts. Principle number 5 from the book is commitment. When you talk about commitment, we're talking about the fact that everything that you do has to put you in a place, not of obligation, but where you're able to commit. So it can change your life basically, and then it helps you overcome certain obstacles in your life, because you go through a lot of different things and then you do a lot of different things. Now, to manage the principle of commitment, you need to expect commitment to be a struggle in the actual sense. It is not something that is easy to do, especially to commit. And then do not rely on your talents alone. Talented people have got an issue where they're like, okay, I'm talented in this, so I don't need to practice this and that and that and that. But then the thing is, as long as you've got talent, there is supposed to be that commitment in order to do everything that you do. And then be single-minded whenever you commit. Principle number 6, which is dealing with finances. So when you talk about finances, this is an area that gives you options in life. A practical example is when you go to a shopping mall or a shop, do you look at prices of the things that you want to buy, or you just look at the things that you want to buy and get? If maybe you're someone who looks at prices, then I suggest that your financial standing isn't so much stable and you do not have a lot of options. So whenever we're talking about finances, we're talking about you having a lot of options. So you need to understand basically the stage of life where you're at. There is a learning phase and there is an earning stage, and then there is a phase of returning whatever you've earned. So don't take offenses when I talked about prices, but basically recognize the stage that you're at. And then whenever you make finances, make sure whenever you earn a lot, make sure that you have a lot of options that you can pick from. Become a good earner. I think that is the only way to manage the discipline or the principle of finances. Number 7, the principle is faith. So faith, it is something that basically is going to give you peace. In what do you believe? Who's your deity? So look at those things. To manage the priority, or the principle rather, you embrace the value of faith that you have, and then associate with people of the faith that you belong to. Put God in the picture all the time whenever we're talking about faith, because you can't talk about faith without deity, that is God. Relationships are number 8. So life goes on well with the relationships that you've built over time. Your happiness and your sadness is going to come from the type of relationships that you have. That is Brian Tracy who says. So then, in order to manage the principle of relationships, I think there is just a lot to talk about when it comes to relationships and how to relate to people and all that. But you need to put others first, and then you need to there is no need for you to carry emotional baggages on yourself, to put burdens on yourself, but be able to serve others gladly. Generosity is the principle number 9, which he gives in the book. So that is given in return. So it is something that brings your true nature outward like that. In order to manage the principle, you need to value people. You know what they value, and then you give to them. Always find what you can give. And then number 10, we're talking about values. So by definition, values are principles that guide your life. So when we're talking about the principles that guide your life, managing the principle itself, you basically articulate and embrace your values on a daily basis. And then you compare your values on a daily basis with yourself, if you're living according to the standards that you might have had set yourself. And then evaluate your highest values that you have, anything that you value. Principle number 11 is growth. So there is a nice quote that I read that is, to be what we are, we become what we are capable of becoming is the only end of life. So growth is a process that we are in on a daily basis. Growth intellectually, growth physically, and in every other sphere. So there is just need to grow. But intellectual growth, I think, is something that is affecting every type of growth that we have as human beings. So that is, you need to invest in ensuring that you're growing, that is listening to audiobooks, seminars, sermons, reading books, and then listening to people who have valuable stuff to say. And the last principle, number 12, we're talking about health. So there is a common saying that goes like, your health is your wealth. So take care of your health. Managing the principle, we're talking about, I don't know how many things, like 2. Your health is going to be balanced by your diet and your exercises. So God is the one who gives us health. We can only sustain it by engaging in exercises ourselves. So today matters. Live today. That was John C. Maxwell. Till we meet in the next segment. Check it out.